such a great job talking about their memories. I'm not that kind of guy. He said, what year did you say I was here? You know, I have to put Post-its in my house, you know, on the mirror that says, I can't remember where I was in 2006, but I will say I love George West. And I love coming here because it has such a great sense of community. And just today, just walking through and everybody remembering my name. Hi, Mark, Joanne. Hey, Mark. I was like, oh my God, you remember me? Yes, of course. Because you're never forgotten. And when I would come in here, it was like going home for me. I'd see the same people. Larry mentioned a couple that would always, not a bridesmaid, not a bride, but it was a couple that came every year from Corpus Christi, and they would come just to see me and take my picture. Check it. This story that I'm going to tell you, I've only told it once, many, many years ago, and one of my mother's cousins, Mary LeComte, she told a lot of stories of Creole and Cajun ancestry, and I would always call her and ask her, how do you say something? How do you say something? And she was a great friend of Doc Moore's, and she died this year. So I thought, I'm going to tell that story today in memory of Mary LeComte. Okay, so here's the story. Oh, it's a Haitian Creole tale, and I like telling Creole tales because I'm Creole, I guess. There was this woman. She was despairing because she was there on her deathbed, you know, working hard in the cane field all her life. She called her son to her and she said, Tijon, this is all I have, a patate douce, a sweet potato. It's too bad it's not hot. So Tijon, he took the sweet potato and then she died right there. He did the only thing that he could do, you know, he gave her a wake, he said a mass for her, and he buried her. And Tijon, he took that patate douce and he went on his way. He took it, he wrapped it in a fig leaf. And he walked this way, he walked that way, you know, just 2-3 steps ahead of the wind until he got to where he was going. Well, he come to a house that was as big as a 30-year-old tree. Now, some of you looking, I said, a 30-year-old tree, can you look up and see that house? Everyone say, mon Dieu. Oh, mon Dieu. And in the yard, there was a fence, and it had a lot of chicken there. So Tijon, he go up to the house, he knock on the door, he want to know if he could have a place to stay for the night with the patate douce. And the man said, oh, monsieur, my house is your house, you're more than welcome. He said, no, my patate douce, I'm going to put in your hen house. He said, man, no, you can't put it in there. He said, well, the chicken, they're going to peck it. He said, oh, no, it's as hard as my heel. He said, I keep it in the hen house all the time. So the man said, okay. So that night when everybody was asleep, Tijon, he crept out the house and he went in the hen house and he took that patate douce and he ate it with relish. Then he went back in the house. And just before the sun came up at dawn, Tijon, he started yelling and screaming, tout le monde s'écrase-moi, tout le monde s'écrase-moi. Let thunder come crashing down. Oh, everybody, they get up and they wasn't used to this, you know, low life expectation. And so the man said, monsieur, what's wrong? He said, oh, I want you to call the magistrate, the police, somebody. I want to have restitution. They ate this patate douce. He said, oh, monsieur, we don't do that. So to appease him, he gave him a rooster. Oh, and that was a pretty rooster, yeah. Oh, it had a pretty crown on his head and it had a beautiful feather. And Tijon, he took that rooster and he went down this road, you know, crying, but he had a little smile there in the corner of his mouth. Well, he walked this way, he walked that way, just 2-3 steps ahead of the wind until he come to a house as big as a 50-year-old tree. Mon Dieu. Oh, thank you, Larry. Come on, Larry, with gusto.
Mon Dieu.
Mon Dieu. In the yard, he could see a lot of sheep. And you know the sheep, eh? What sound the sheep make? Oh, where was more sheep than that. He had a house that was big as a 50-year-old tree. Let me hear. Yeah. So Tijon, he go to the door and he knock on the door. He want to know if he could stay for the night and if his rooster can sleep out there in the field with the sheep. But the man said, man, no. He said, man, they're gonna trample it. Tijon said, oh no. He said, my little rooster, that's where I keep it at home. It ride on the back of the sheep like it's a little horse. So the man said, oh, mais jamais la vie, never in my life. So Tijon, he take the rooster, he put it out there with the sheep. But later that night, when everybody was asleep, Tijon, he snuck out the back and he come upon that rooster and oh, I'm telling you, he broke the rib and he broke the neck. Oh, the next morning before the sun come up, well, everybody wake up and they want to know what's the matter. Oh, it was blood curdling scream, you know. And so Tijon, he said he want to call the magistrate. The man said, oh, no. He said, Monsieur Tijon, I tell you what, we don't need all of that. You know, just go to the field and you can get any one of those sheep you want. And the sheep he got, that was pretty, yeah. It was a ram. It had those horns right there. It looked like two pretty honey buns on both sides of his head. So Tijon, he take a rope, he put it around his neck, and he walked this way, he walked that way, just 2-3 steps ahead of the wind to get to where he was going. Well, as he was walking, he come to a house as big as a 60-year-old tree. Yeah, my God, yes. So he walking and he can see in the field there, he can see a lot of cattle. Oh, that's an old bull right there. That man had that one for too long. Too old to go to market. That meat not good no more. But anyway, you know I was going to get you back from yesterday, okay? So he walk up to the door with the sheep and he knock on the door. He want to know if he can have a place to stay for the night. And if his ram can stay out there in the field with the cattle. The man say, oh no, he protests, but Tijon, he assured it's going to be fine. Well, the very next day, just at the crack of dawn, he snuck out of the house and oh, what he did to that rooster. You can only imagine what he did to that ram. I'm not going to even tell you because it's too ugly. Just use your imagination. But it was bad. Y'all look forlorn. Do this. Oh, no. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, the next morning, just before the sun come up, they wake up astonished as to what's going on. Tijon, he want restitution. So the man, he said, no, Tijon. He said, monsieur, this is all we have to do. He said, you can go out there and you can pick any one of my cattle, anything you want. Now, I think here in Texas, this was in Louisiana, but it was one of them cow, you know, with the horn. What is that? No, oh, somebody say, a longhorn? The one he picked. The horns were so long you could hang all your summer clothes on one and all your winter clothes on the other. So Tijon, he take a rope, he wrap it around his neck, and then he walk this way, he walk that way, you know, just 2-3 steps ahead of the way. Until, what do you think he come to? A what? As old as? 7-year-old train. No, he come to 2 men and they got a coffin. And in the coffin is a dead man in there. And it was a mulatto. He grieved himself to death because each year he was turning darker and darker, you know. He didn't have no family. Well, Tijon, he want to make a deal if he could take that dead man for the long horn. For the men, they was more than happy to make the trade, and that man didn't have no family. And so Tijon, he go down the road with that dead man. And lucky for him, he was still fresh. So, you know, it was easy to carry. Well, he come and he walk and he come to a house as big as a 60-foot tree. A 60-year-old tree, but thank you for paying attention. He come to a house as big as a 60-year-old tree. It had 10,000 windows. It had 500 rooms. Now, on that property, that man, he had 3 houses, and he had 3 beautiful daughters. Well, Tijon, he waited kind of late, so no one would notice that that man was dead. He walked up to the door with that dead man's shoulder around his arm. He wanted to know if he could have a place to stay for the night for he and his brother who had already fallen asleep. So he welcomed him in, and Tijon was in one room and the brother was in the other room. Well, just before the sun come up, Tijon go in that room and he throw himself on that body. The whole house is awake and they come, and the man, he don't know what to do. They already called the magistrate. The magistrate come and the man say, oh, monsieur, I can take care of all of this. Now, what do you think Tijon done? You think maybe he took one of them houses that was for that man? Or you think he married one of those daughters? I don't know. But ever since I told that story, I don't go nowhere unless I got a patatus in my pocket. Thank you, and thank you. It was just a pleasure being here.